Ms. Bondi, you were a courtroom prosecutor for a great many years. As a courtroom prosecutor, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
And you went on to be Florida's Attorney General. As Florida's Attorney General, did you ever have an enemies list?
No, Senator.
As Florida's Attorney General, you were responsible for hiring into the Florida Department of Attorney General, correct?
Senator, the Attorney General's office in Florida is the third largest in the state, approximately 1,400 employees and approximately 400 lawyers. Only California and Texas are our bigger offices.
And you were responsible
yes.
for hiring into that office while you were Attorney General?
Yes.
Would you
Senator.
have hired someone into the Florida Attorney General's office who you knew had an enemies list?
Today, we take a closer look at a tense Senate exchange between Senator Sheldon Whitehouse and Attorney General Pam Bondi during her confirmation hearing. The questioning centered on issues of political independence, the FBI's role in national security, and concerns about the potential politicization of the Department of Justice under a future Trump administration.
Senator, to cut to the chase, you're clearly talking about Kash Patel. I don't believe he has an enemies list. He made a quote on TV, which I have not heard. I saw your sign, or Senator Durbin's sign, about Kash. But I know that Kash Patel has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor. He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense. I have known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job. You'll have the ability to question Mr. Patel.
And I'm questioning you right now about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
Thank you. The FBI's, what is the FBI's role in national security and counterterrorism, and how important is that role?
You know, Senator, I believe now more than ever, counterterrorism is so important and vital in our country. We are facing such incredible threats here and abroad. I'm sure many of you saw former FBI Director Wray's interview on 60 Minutes. He talked about the threats that, frankly, again, I don't have my security clearance, but the threats facing us, Senator, from China right now that are so great, the sleeper cells within our country.
Given that importance, is it responsible to call for shutting down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work? And will you, as Attorney General, impede or shut down the FBI's counterterrorism and national security work?
Senator,
2 questions.
Senator, I believe that national security is vital right now for our country on so many fronts. I could continue to discuss many others.
And the FBI's role in that?
And the FBI plays a vital role in counterterrorism
which you will or will not shut down.
I will look at each agency. I have no intention of shutting anything down right now, Senator. I am not in that office yet, and if confirmed, I will look at each individual agency and how it should be managed, but counterterrorism right now in our world is vital.
You have said that Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted in the Trump administration. What Department of Justice prosecutors will be prosecuted and why?
I said that on TV. I said prosecutors will be prosecuted to finish the quote, if bad. Investigators will be investigated. You know, we all take an oath, Senator, to uphold the law. None of us are above the law. Let me give you a really good example of a bad lawyer within the Justice Department, a guy named Klein Smith, who altered a FISA warrant, one of the most important things we can do in this country. So will everyone be held to an equal, fair system of justice? If I am the next Attorney General, absolutely, and no one is above the law.
Under what circumstances will you prosecute journalists for what they write?
I believe in the freedom of speech. Only if anyone commits a crime. It's pretty basic, Senator, with anything, with any victim. And this goes back to my entire career for 18 years as a prosecutor and then 8 years as Florida's Attorney General. You find the facts of the case, you apply the law in good faith, and you treat everyone fairly.
And it would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime it's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization that we have seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him, actually starting back in 2016. They targeted his campaign. They have launched countless investigations against him. That will not be the case if I am Attorney General. I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country. Senator, we've got to bring this country back together. We've got to move forward, or we're going to lose our country.
Yeah, I think the concern is that weaponization of the Justice Department may well occur under your tenure. And we want to make sure that that's not the case, that you remain independent, that you remain able to and willing to tell the president no when that's necessary to protect the Constitution and the integrity of the department. So that's where I'm asking these questions. We talked in the meeting about the contacts policy that has prevailed really since Senator Hatch sat in that chair and demanded it of the Clinton Justice Department through all the administration since then, with the exception of a brief period under Attorney General Gonzalez, which he corrected and which did not end well for him. There has been a contacts policy that limits contacts between the White House and the Department of Justice to a very few senior officials on each side. In your role as Attorney General, if you are confirmed, will you maintain, defend, and enforce that longstanding contacts policy?
Senator, yes, I will meet with White House counsel and I will meet with the appropriate officials and follow the contacts policy.
Senator Whitehouse pressed Bondi on whether she would enforce what he called an enemies list, referencing remarks from Trump ally Kash Patel. Bondi denied that such a list would exist under her leadership and insisted she would never allow the Department of Justice to be used in that way. She emphasized her career as both a prosecutor and attorney general, arguing that her record shows a commitment to fairness. If you find this breakdown helpful, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more clear analysis of Washington's most important hearings. The senator then pivoted to national security, asking whether Bondi would support or hinder the FBI's counterterrorism efforts. Bondi stated firmly that counterterrorism is vital to the country's safety and that she has no plans to shut down or impede that mission. She pointed to ongoing threats from foreign adversaries, including China, as evidence of how critical the FBI's role remains. For more updates on how national security debates shape U.S. policy, remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next report. Another contentious point arose when White House inquired about Bondi's past comments, suggesting that prosecutors could themselves be prosecuted. She defended her statement by referencing the case of a Justice Department lawyer who altered a surveillance warrant, saying no official should be above the law. White House pressed further, stressing the importance of prosecutors starting with a crime rather than targeting individuals.
Bondi responded that this was exactly how she had run her office and promised not to politicize the Department of Justice. If you want deeper insights into how accountability at DOJ could change in the coming years, subscribe to the channel and join the conversation. Finally, Senator Whitehouse raised the issue of the long-standing contacts policy, which restricts direct communication between the White House and the Justice Department to a small number of officials. This safeguard is meant to preserve the DOJ's independence from political influence. Bondi pledged that, if confirmed, she would follow and enforce this policy. This commitment will likely be revisited if her nomination proceeds, as it cuts to the heart of whether she would act independently or align too closely with President Trump. Stay connected by subscribing now so you are informed as this story develops.